everyone, it's me again, Brittany, and I'm here today with a very exciting video. Probably a very anticipated video, because I bet you all have been wondering, Brittany, where are the book hauls? I am a book buyer. We know this. My book hauls tend to be ginormous. I have a problem. Yet somehow for the entire year of 2020, I have not posted one book haul. So you can imagine I have quite a few books to haul. I think I counted it out and it was something along the lines of 53 or 54. I wanted to cut it up for us. I don't want to do one ginormous 54 book haul where it's 45 minutes long, I'm rushing through it, by the end my brain is scattered, you guys don't even know what's going on anymore, and my description looks like a book itself. So I am splitting it up. I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to just cut it off, maybe just when I start to feel like worn down. But it is basically a first half of the year book haul. Part 1. I do also want to mention that this video is being sponsored today by someone who is giving me more books to haul, which is both a good and bad problem to have, you know? And that someone is Book of the Month. So I've actually worked with Book of the Month previously in one of my videos. It was actually my June TBR, and I really enjoyed making that video. I was pleasantly surprised by the picks that they had for the month. If you didn't already know, Book of the Month is an amazing online subscription service where you get to pick out 1 out of 5 books every single month to be sent straight to your house for the low price of $14.99. And I say low because these are adult fiction hardcovers. We're in this together. You know exactly how much an adult fiction hardcover is. They're normally insanely priced. Like, I feel like they're normally ranging from $25 to $30 for a hardcover. I don't understand it. Which means that Book of the Month has the best prices for new release adult fiction novels. And you can really expect them to be amazing picks. Every single month, their team goes through hundreds and hundreds of books to pick out a really amazing, diverse list of books that they think that their subscribers will love. But even if you happen to not like them that month, there is actually no risk at all in skipping for the next month. So let's say you look at the list for this month and you're like, none of these are calling out to me, none of this is what I'd like. You can just skip without any penalties and have that credit roll over to the next month, and hopefully you'll like them then. And to top it off, all the books every single month are either new releases or early releases of, most of the time, new and emerging authors, so that they can expose their audience to authors that may have otherwise had a harder time reaching a grand group of people. And it makes it easier on us, the readers, because all we have to do is look at those 5 books, decide on what we want, and not really have to do all of the research every single month. But I mean, if you still want to do your research, I get it, because I'm the same way, so. And if the low price of $14.99 still seemed like a bit too much just to try out this brand for the first time, that's okay, because they have a code this month for you guys, and it's going to be Read On, and that means that you can get your first subscription box from them for the low price of $9.99. So definitely be sure to check out my description, because there will be like easier links and maybe easier lingo, because I know I talk a lot and I know that it can be a little bit rambly at times. So check down there if you need any more information, please. And again, thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. I'm really appreciative of all the support and love, and they really answered a ton of my questions. I had a ton of questions before going through with this sponsorship. I know that a ton of you in my last one asked me about some of the things that had happened around the Black Lives Matter movement with Book of the Month, and I obviously would never want to put myself into a partnership with someone that either I couldn't trust or you guys couldn't trust, and so I was asking tons and tons of questions, and they answered all of them to my personal standards. I wanted to make sure that they are very focused on promoting POC authors and Black authors and diverse authors in general, and I was actually informed that at least 2 out of the 5 picks every single month are to be POC or Black authors, and they're gonna get exposed to so many people, because this is a really huge community. So I'm really pleased with their game plan, with their answers, with their action, and I'm so happy to work with them. So actually, let's open the box up, because I still have not seen what the book picks for August are. They sent me all 5 of their book picks for August, which is really exciting because I love getting books. Also, August is my birthday month, so it just feels like a present. The last time that I worked with them, I was really nervous about the fact that they are an adult fiction company for the most part. They used to have a young adult sector, but it kind of got absorbed by the grand company, and I'm not a huge adult fiction reader, adult book reader in general, but the books that they picked out were so fascinating to me, and I really was kind of pushed forward into a non-fiction, adult fiction world ever since then, and I've kind of been on this journey, and it's very exciting, so I really can't wait to see what's in the box. What's in the box today, to see what else I'm gonna be adding to my TBR. Ooh, I like that they hid the other boxes. Boxes. You get your book in this blue fun box every single month on your doorstep, just waiting for you. And look guys, I'm cutting away from myself. You'd be so proud of me. So let's see what the first book pick is going to be. Oh, that's pretty. So the first book pick for August is The Unraveling of Cassidy Holmes by Alyssa R. Sloan. And I haven't actually heard of this book yet, so I'm just gonna read it really quickly. I don't want to give you like full summaries, so Cassidy Holmes isn't just a celebrity. Hottest pop group in America. Hotter than Brittany dancing with a snake. Definitely a trigger warning for suicide. This sounds cool. This is giving me kind of Daisy Jones and the Six vibes in the way that it's following a pop group, and it's 15 years after they've split, and they're completely shocked and rocked when their main girl, like the star of the show, really commits suicide, and it's being told in different timelines, also from different perspectives, so from the three other members of the group and Cassidy herself, and just kind of trying to unravel what it is that was going on in her mind and just follow the rise and fall of what it means to be a pop star, or a star in general, I feel like. The next book in here is going to be The Death of Vivek Oji by, I'm gonna get this right, okay, Akwaeke Emezi. By Akwaeke Emezi. I could be saying that wrong. I probably should just Google it, but I don't know where my phone is once again, so sorry. And the tagline is, what does it mean for a family to lose a child they never really knew? Ooh, takes place in southeastern Nigeria. Oh, okay, I'm relieved. I misunderstood the very beginning, so I went back to reread the summary because I thought for a moment that this story was about a mother who opens the door to find her son wrapped in cloth but like dead, and he wasn't. It was just a boy that was wrapped in cloth left on her doorstep, and she and her husband then raise him, but he's plagued by like very mysterious ailments like blackouts and just kind of a general confusion of the world. And it seems like a kind of mix between literary fiction and mystery because it is trying to figure out like what his, oh wait, maybe it is the death. I'm honestly confused. I might be too dumb for this book, but it does sound absolutely fascinating. It says like the end, it's all leading up to one heart-stopping act of violence in a moment of exhilarating freedom, and that sounds very intriguing to me. See, that's kind of what I really like about Book of the Month, is that it tends to be books that I never would have found on my own, mostly because I don't read adult fiction. It tends to be books that even if I'd found them on my own, I might not have picked them up because I am so focused most of the time on fantasy, and specifically young adult fantasy, but like when I do go into the adult section, it's fantasy. I love that like for the most part, it doesn't tend to be fantasy in Book of the Month, and that's fun for me. Next up, we have The Night Swim by Megan Golden. I feel like this is gonna be a thriller. This looks really cool though, like the cover. I love those shades together, just like a nice yellow and a deep blue. A true crime podcast host covering a controversial trial finds herself drawn deep into a small town's dark past and a brutal crime that took place there years before. So like a thriller. Well, that's cool. So I guess like her podcast set an innocent man free and she became an overnight sensation for people seeking justice. Interesting. So it looks like she's following a case about an Olympic swimmer, a golden boy, who is potentially falsely accused of rape, and her trying to uncover that mystery at the same time as someone has been leaving her mysterious notes, begging her to figure out what happened to their sister years and years before in the same town and how the cases might be connected. Sounds very interesting. I really am excited to get into thrillers. I just know that it's gonna be my jam because I love scary movies, guys. I adore them. Specifically thrillery scary movies. I mean, paranormal are the ones that really freak me out, but like I love the like jump kind of scary movies. Like they're terrible, like shark movies. Shark movies, that's a guilty pleasure of mine. And the next book is Atomic Love by Jenny Fields. This looks really freaking cool. Look at that cover. Ooh. Love, desire, betrayal. Her choice could save a nation. Chicago, 1950. She's a physicist in Manhattan, and she's in a passionate love affair with her colleague. Ooh. She ends up having to spy on her old lover. I love spy books. Oh my gosh. Spy movies, really. This sounds juicy. Okay, it's definitely like romancy, kind of, I don't know, mystery. And she is an ex-physicist who had been in a passionate love affair with her colleague before the bombings happened, and then 5 years later she's kind of resigned herself to just a regular life. She's not really a physicist anymore, and she hasn't talked to that colleague in ages, and then the FBI recruits her to spy on him, and she has to question whether she can really spy on a man she still loves. Love it. Sounds juicy. And the last book is the... Ooh, this is actually definitely my favorite cover in the whole box, but all of the covers so far have been stunning. And it's called The Space Between Worlds by Mikaya Johnson. An outsider who can travel between worlds discovers a secret that threatens her new home and her fragile place in it in a stunning sci-fi debut that's both a cross-dimensional adventure and a powerful examination of identity, privilege, and belonging. Ooh. Doppelgangers. Okay, I'm not gonna read much of what this is about. Sci-fi novels and fantasy books are ones that I barely want to know anything going into, but like, look at this cover. I think that I'm going to adore this. Oh, it got a little hurt. That's okay, that's okay. It says, my mother used to say I was born reaching, which is true. She also used to say it would get me killed, which it hasn't. Not yet, anyway. Okay, book of the month. I really like this month's picks. I feel like there was such a good group of them just because they really covered all their bases, like from romance to thriller to historical style literary fiction. I don't know. I really love mental health books, and I feel like that's what the first one is. Thank you again for Book of the Month, for sending me the books actually, and for sponsoring the video. And now that it's been a ton of time already, we can get into the other 53 books that I have to haul for you today. I don't know how much I'm gonna end up hauling. I guess you'll know because I'll probably put it in the title. I don't know if I want to go in order. Okay, I'm gonna go in like a soft order of when I got these things. A lot of these are from book subscription boxes. A lot of them are books that I bought, books that were gifted to me. A lot of them are doubles actually. So hopefully this doesn't take as long as I think it will. Let's get into it, guys. Are you excited? I'm freaking excited. I haven't done a book haul in a million years. Just as a disclaimer, I will likely not be giving good summaries. In general, I just don't feel like hauls are the best places for summaries and reviews because I normally have to haul so many of them. But please check my description down below. I will be leaving links to every single one of these books. I always leave an Amazon link and a Book Depository link. I get a tiny commission for both of them because I'm affiliate, so I mean, if you use my link, that's pretty cool, but if not, that's totally fine. Either way though, you can click on the link to look at the summary of the book if what I say slightly intrigues you. So let's just dive in. The first book that I'm going to talk about today, well, I mean, technically sixth, I Got the Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. And this is actually a book that I originally was not excited about kind of at all because I'd been getting it confused with the Prodigy like reboot that Marie Lu was making at the same time, and I thought for whatever reason that it was going to be that, but it definitely isn't. It has to do with Mozart's sister. In general, Mozart really did have a sister that was pretty much lost in time just because women were so much like of a throwaway product at that time, but she was just as talented, if not more talented, than Mozart himself, and never really got any of the credit for it. So this book follows her as she kind of deals with that sort of aspect of life, but also as I believe that she falls into a different world, which I think is really freaking cool. I mean, even this line, she will perform only until she reaches a marriageable age. Her tyrannical father has made that much clear. We hate that. The next book is going to be It Will Fall by Sarah Harrion, and I actually have heard good things about this ever since I initially talked about it in one of my unboxings. I initially remember saying that I wasn't very excited about it just because it seemed very convenient, I believe. Yeah. Basically, the land that they live in, magic is illegal, but when their land falls prey to a mysterious evil lurking down the surface, the queen suddenly believes it's totally okay for people to have magic and scavenges up a group of them and sends them off to do her bidding. I think that was the original reason why I wasn't that excited about it, because it seemed so frustrating to me. I mean, to be fair, getting the opportunity to use the magic that before had been illegal for you, yeah, I guess who wouldn't take the opportunity, but I was also really frustrated at the idea that the queen would be such a hypocrite. I guess everyone in power is kind of a hypocrite, so. But that's that on that. That wasn't even really a summary, I'm sorry. The next book is going to be Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. I almost didn't haul this one, and then I realized that I hadn't hauled it. I had to go back and rewatch my last haul that I made, but this was actually sent to me by one of you guys, a subscriber, because I had posted in my bookshelf tour that I would probably never get the Lady Midnight book and that my trilogy would just stand as a duology for forever, because I do have Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness in these Waterstones exclusive editions, but the Lady Midnight one is basically impossible to find. And one of you kindly reached out to me saying that you didn't want it, that they literally were just going to give it away anyways, and if they wanted for them to send it to me. And I jumped on that so fast. I'm so excited to just complete my beautiful little trilogy. They look so good together. This one's definitely my favorite out of the 3 books. Again, I love how navy and gold look together. It's stunning. And I feel like I don't have to talk much about this. Lady Midnight, it's the first book in the Dark Artifices trilogy, which is one of the more recent series in the Shadowhunter world by Cassandra Clare. This next one I'm kind of excited about. So this was gifted to me by a coworker, and she was really excited about it. She was trying to explain it to me, and I honestly cannot grasp it with my mind, but it's called The Silent History. It looks like it's written by Eli Horowitz, Matthew Derby, and Kevin Moffett. It is fiction, but it was told over time, like it was released in a different format through an app, I believe, and then this is the actual bind up of it. And she just told me that I had to go into a blind. If you guys know what this is about, more power to ya, because I feel like it is a pretty popular story. I just don't know anything about it, and I'm really excited though. This definitely sounds like one of those things that a couple of years ago I probably wouldn't have been into, since all I wanted to read was young adult and fantasy, and this is so out of that range. But now I'm so intrigued by it, so I'm really grateful to my coworker for giving it to me. So sweet. Next up is Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim. This is another book I got in a subscription box, but this one I was really intrigued by, I remember. Amaya rescues a mysterious stranger from drowning. It sucks that I'm starting with the books that I got so much longer ago, because I don't remember anything about the summaries, and it's making me look pretty, dumb. That's giving me like Gatsby vibes. Basically, Amaya rescues a mysterious stranger from drowning, and he offers her unimaginable riches, a new identity, and the promise of retribution. Is that not giving you Gatsby vibes? I don't know. Huh. And then the other person that we follow in this book is Kaya Mercado, who is the heir to his father's empire, and he will do anything to save his sister from an illness that is eating away at her, and their fates get intertwined, so his and Amaya's, and Amaya is desperate to overthrow and destroy the empire while all he wants to do is protect it. So, I mean, we all love a hate to love, right? I love a hate to love. Ooh, this next one I'm actually really excited about. I've been hearing a lot about it, and definitely mixed reviews, but I feel like, I don't know, it has me excited. And that is The Shadows Between Us by Trish Levenseller. Trish Levenseller is the author of the Daughter of the Pirate King duology. I loved Daughter of the Pirate King, if we all remember, but I did not like Daughter of the Siren Queen that much. So I am definitely willing to give Trish Levenseller another shot though, because this one sounds right up my alley. It's basically a girl who is gonna do anything to win the throne. She has no moral high ground to stand on. She has no morals to fall back on, and she just really wants whatever she wants, and she's gonna get it. And I love that about her. It also, I believe, has a lot to do with, not a lot to do, but she as a character also is definitely okay with sleeping around with whoever she wants to, which is not something you really ever see in YA, so I feel like that is the reason I'm excited about it. But I have heard that it maybe wraps up a little too quickly, or that the ending itself is not the best, but I'm still willing to give it a shot. Okay. I had to have a brief intermission. That first part of the book haul, I guess, really didn't last long. I had to make dinner. I forgot that I was supposed to, well, I had to start dinner. I forgot I was making it tonight. Let's continue. So the next book is going to be Wicked As You Wish by Rin Chipeko. This was actually an arc that we got in a subscription box, and I honestly don't know much about it. From the author of the Bone Witch trilogy. The magical kingdom of Avalon was left desolate and encased in ice when the evil Snow Queen waged war against the powerful country, and his protectors are stuck in Arizona. Oh, I remember. The fantasy gets mixed in with our real world because his cavalry gets stuck in Arizona, and I remember kind of being put off by that part. I mean, maybe it's because my grandparents always lived in Arizona, so I went a lot. I feel very like indifferent towards Arizona, so when I read that I was like, okay, well, that's cool, I guess. It's supposed to be like very ordinary mixed in with a lot of fantasy, you know? So that's that. I don't know if it's out yet. I don't believe it is. All right, I'm gonna stop embarrassing myself. Hard to do, hard to do. So the next book that I have to haul is Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is a stunning, stunning edition that actually matches my Alice in Wonderland editions, if you remember those from my Argentina haul. Well, it was in a book haul, but it was from Argentina, and I got them in El Ateneo, which is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful library and bookstore in Buenos Aires. And when my cousin came in January, he actually remembered that I had wanted to get Dracula, but I ended up deciding like that was just too many books, and he brought it for me as a Christmas present. And it's just, this is honestly such like a nice memory, and it's such a prized possession just because of that. He literally had been there standing around kind of indifferent. He's not the biggest reader or anything like that, but he'd remembered that this was the edition I wanted for Dracula, and he brought it. I miss my cousin, honestly. And Dracula, I actually read this last year. I was nonplussed overall, because even though it was good, and I can definitely see how this inspired everything that we have about vampire lore today, I just felt like it was pretty big for no good reason. But right now, it's gonna be pretty big so that it can fit really well on my shelves and stand out. I tried to do something there and I don't think it worked. But either way, really, really happy that I got this. These next two, this is the start of the doubles. Actually, you know what? We're gonna hold. I have so many doubles. Okay, next book is gonna be Straight On Till Morning by Liz Braswell. This was another book in the Twisted Tale series that Disney Book Group is doing, where they basically reimagine a fairy tale that we know and love. And this one had to do with what if Wendy first traveled to Neverland with Captain Hook. And I was so excited to read this because I was really in a Peter Pan mood at that time. I'd been watching the movie a lot. That was sort of dead in the middle of my reading slump. Actually, I'm only right now kind of getting out of my reading slump, so I'm not gonna say it's an excuse, but that's the reason that I haven't really read most of these books, So let's begin the doubles, because I have quite a few, and then I think we can actually start on the books that I've recently bought and might know something about. So the first one I have is Woven in Moonlight, which is by Isabel Ibanez, and this one actually sounds so fascinating. I accidentally ordered it from Book of the Month when Book of the Month YA still existed, and I got it in a subscription box as well. But it sounds so fascinating and beautiful. So we follow Ximena, who is a decoy condesa, and she is a decoy for the last remaining member of the royal family. And in this, we specifically follow her as she kind of tries to exact revenge and use her powers to find an ancient relic to take back the city that they lost and get back at the people that tore apart her life and her charge's family. She has a power of being able to weave with moonlight. So that just sounds beautiful. Like, that just sounds like such a power. I don't even know what I do with it. Would I make a lot of robes, a lot of skirts? Would I just thread it into my hair? Can you do more things with it than just like make clothes? Probably. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the fact that I have four editions of Crescent City. We'll go in order, because I had ordered a book, but it wasn't supposed to be here in time, so I ended up having to go out to like Walmart and getting Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood. And this was the copy that I actually read. So this is just like the regular run-of-the-mill copy. It's nothing special, but she's special to me because she's annotated now. Then we have the Waterstones exclusive edition, which this one is red. We love to see it. I was actually thinking about it yesterday, and I don't think that any of Sarah J Maas's other books have sprayed edges. I have never had an edition that came with sprayed edges. Unless it might be like those special ones that come in the sleeves. Just regular? I don't know. So we have that one. And lastly, not lastly, but then we have, oh, she's upside down. The tour edition. And this edition was actually one that was supposed to only go out to people that went to her tour in Europe, but when tours got canceled because of the virus, they ended up getting sold on Waterstones, and Mika, my best friend here on BookTube, told me about it, bless her heart, and I got myself a copy. And lastly, my most prized possession, and you can tell it's prized because it's still in the box. I opened it. I'll put in like a little thing right now of me opening it. It was very exciting, but this was the signed personalized edition that you could order. We love to see it. This is my name. I don't even want to like completely take it out because it's just, I just don't want to take it out of the box. I just want to leave it in here for forever. It was also while I was moving, so that was like why I really kept it in the box, but now I'm just like attached to the box. Would you look at that? This is to Brittany. the highlight of my library. Probably my favorite book that I own. Okay, no, I'm sure there's like sentimental ones, but I love it. If you weren't already aware, House of Earth and Blood is the first book in Sarah J Maas's new adult fantasy series, and we all know I am trash for Sarah J Maas. I will read anything that she writes and adore it, but this specifically might be my new favorite book. We're following Bryce, who is a half fae, half human in this pretty modern fantasy world. And she's just kind of living her life. She's a partier, she loves to live life to its fullest, and she tries not to let others get her down. She has her best friend, she has a group of friends that are closer to her than family, and they basically get her through anything until tragedy strikes and she is set on a path for vengeance to get the right person who destroyed her life 2 years prior to the story. I just love it. Now obviously there's a hot immortal man with wings, male. Like, is it really a Sarah J Maas book if there isn't? So much sexual tension. It's everything I love. But Bryce herself, like the journey that she goes through in her mind is really the thing that stands out to me the most. Like that is the reason why this is probably my new favorite book. I say probably because A Court of Mist and Fury still just... that and Air of Fire, they just hold my heart. I swear I have a video coming up of my Crescent City vlog. I just have to get to editing it. It's there, it's in my computer. We'll chat then. Next up we have All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. I told you, I have multiple copies of quite a few books now, and none by my own fault, but still. All the Stars and Teeth, I actually did read this. I really enjoyed this. This gave me very strong Pirates of the Caribbean vibes. We follow Amora, who is a princess getting ready to inherit her kingdom. But to inherit this kingdom, she has to prove that she can actually do soul magic, because soul magic can only be done by the ruler of the kingdom. When her trial does not go the way that she planned, she ends up having to run away with this hot pirate bandit runaway kind of guy on his pirate ship that mysteriously kind of like sails itself, and they meet all these amazing people, my favorite being a siren in this. I adored the siren. I just loved her so much. This gave me such strong Pirates of the Caribbean vibes, like Elizabeth Swann and Will Turner. It's just, I don't know, but like, maybe? See my wrap up if you want like more thoughts on that, because I feel like I didn't sum it up very, very well, but like, I liked it. Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy. This one was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, so it's kind of exciting that I have 2 copies of it. Necessary? No. Do I like it? Yeah. Bone Crier's Moon just really intrigued me right from the start. This has to do with bone criers, and bone criers ferry the dead from this world to the next. But they gain this ability by having to sacrifice their one true love to truly show that, you know, they're committed. When our main character tries to do this and sacrifice her one true love, she gets interrupted by the son of a man who had been the sacrifice of a bone crier, and their fates end up inevitably intertwined. And I think that a lot of people have been saying that her best friend plays a huge role in this, and I'm really excited to see it because I feel like friendship is my favorite thing in books. We just don't see enough of it. Like, yes, I love hate to love, because obviously this would be hate to love, but I love friendship too, so. And I swear these are the last books that I have 2 of. Pinky swear. And that's gonna be Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, and this beautiful edition that I unboxed. Chain of Gold, I still haven't read it. I know that this follows the children of the characters in the Infernal Devices, and the Infernal Devices is my favorite Cassandra Clare trilogy. It is 100% my favorite work that she's ever done. I started a reread of it earlier this year and got distracted halfway through, and now I'm remembering I did that, and I kind of want to pull it off the shelf so that I don't forget that I started a reread and I was enjoying it. But then it follows their children, and I'm really interested to see what that's gonna be like. I have read about their children already because they appear in some of the short stories that Cassandra Clare has written, so I kind of have an idea of what it's gonna be like, but that's all the information I kind of have on it. Look how pretty this book is. Honestly, this book haul is the haul of beautiful books. So these two were actually gifted to me by one of my lovely subscribers, and that is Get a Life Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, and I hope this reaches her in time by R.H. Sin. I am so excited about Get a Life Chloe Brown. I really have not delved very far into adult romance, but I think it's gonna be fun because adult romance, I mean, it's just a good time. Like, you're just there to have a good time. They're fast, easy, quick reads normally. Get a Life Chloe Brown though, I've heard nothing but good things. I don't know too much about it, but I believe it has a fake dating trope, or that might be the next one. I think the next one has a fake dating trope. It has amazing rep because Chloe herself is actually chronically ill. And to combat this, she comes up with a list of 7 things to kind of get her life on track before she potentially dies. Ooh, okay, that's what I forgot. So she enlists a very badass man to kind of show her the ropes and help her be more of a badass in her life, and obviously it's probably gonna turn into more, and we love to see it. And there's a black cat. Little black cat. I have a black cat. I'm in a mood right now. I think it's because I'm hungry, but anyways. And then I Hope This Reaches Her in Time by R.H. Sin. This I actually read in the Reading Rush last week, 2 weeks ago. What is time? Unfortunately, this one did not call out to me, but I'm still really excited to catch R.H. Sin's other works. I know that this one specifically just definitely wasn't written for me. R.H. Sin writes poetry, modern poetry. I was told by one of you guys that his poetry tends to be made for like women that are coming out of abusive relationships or toxic relationships, and just kind of how to pick yourself up again after those. And it's something that I don't necessarily relate to because I've never really had to deal with that kind of stuff, so I know that's why this doesn't completely relate to me. But if you guys do have any recommendations for some of R.H. Sin's other works that maybe might be a little bit more general, I would love to hear it because I really think that I would enjoy their writing. Next we have The Stars and the Blackness Between Them by Junata Petrus, and this sounds so freaking lovely. We follow Audrey, who is being kicked out of her house because her mother just found out that she has a girlfriend. So she has to leave her home of Trinidad, Port of Spain, which a lot of you guys corrected me on that because my bad. I said she was from Spain in Trinidad, and she's not from Spain. She's from Port of Spain. There is a difference. I didn't know it. But she has to leave her home and go visit her father, who lives in the United States. She ends up meeting Mabel, who going through her own things in life, but falls head over heels for Audrey, and it just follows their story as they like love each other and live through things. I don't know. I just think it's gonna be really lovely. Next up, we have The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. This was actually one that I got with one of my Book of the Month credits because I do have an account actually with Book of the Month. So I had some credits to use and I got this as an add-on. And I read this last year. It's a thriller. It's basically the first of the thriller that I ever really read. It's a retelling, a reimagining of The Turn of the Screw. So if you know that story, you're probably gonna know how this one ends. I did not know that story, and this was it was a shocking ending, but in the way that I was still disappointed, but I still loved it. I just wish it had ended slightly differently, but it was really cool. Basically, a girl goes to be a live-in nanny for this obscenely rich and modern family. And when I say modern, I mean that their house is about as smart as it gets. She is in the middle of nowhere taking care of these kids that she basically just met, and mysterious things start happening. It was cool. I enjoyed it. That's why I got it, obviously. Next we have Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, and I have not read an Elizabeth Acevedo book, even though it sounds like my cup of tea. The Poet X, I've been wanting to buy it for ages now. What you'll find is, for me, with contemporary specifically, I will put that off for years because it's not like a need. I normally am not in a contemporary mood. So I normally, even if I want to read it, will hold off on buying a contemporary for ages. But when I found out that Clap When You Land was coming out and it was also told in verse, I was really excited, and I went out and got myself a copy right away. Well, stayed in and ordered in a copy. But we're following two sisters who don't know about each other, don't know about each other's existence, but have the same father. And this father dies in a plane crash off of the Dominican Republic, I believe, very close after the plane crashes of 9/11. And that's actually a true plane crash that happened that didn't get a lot of publicity because of its nearness to the 9/11 attacks. This one specifically was not a terrorist attack. It was just, I believe, the plane went down. But Their father was in it, and they don't know about each other, but they're both dealing with the consequences of his loss. One in New York and the other one in the Dominican Republic. And I believe that they end up finding out about each other and kind of discovering that someone else is there to feel their pain. Yeah, that's all I really know about it, but I think I'm gonna love it. I love stories that are told in verse. I adore it, so I think I'm gonna love it. Oof. This book also falls under that category of I've wanted it for ages, and I'm kind of embarrassed to only be hauling it. Well, I'm definitely embarrassed to only be hauling it now, but when I saw this pretty gold edition, I finally bit the bullet. And that's The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. It's okay, guys, you can roast me. Like, you can roast me. I cannot believe I haven't read this book yet. It's not from lack of wanting. This book obviously has amazing reviews. The movie has amazing reviews. I actually really wanted to go see the movie, but refused to go to see the movie before I read the book. So I still haven't seen the movie either, and I just feel like it's gonna be such a fun experience to— fun's not the right word. I think it's gonna be a really awesome— that's not the right word either. Okay. I think it's gonna be a very interesting experience to read The Hate U Give and then watch the movie. It is about a girl who is in the car when her best friend gets pulled over, and he is shot and killed by a police officer quite unfairly. And it's her rallying everyone around her, rallying her community, and demanding justice for something that should never have happened. And obviously this is especially hard-hitting at this time, just with so many movements and protests happening around the world, and I really need to read this book. I'm embarrassed. I really am. I actually haven't read any of Angie Thomas's work because I wanted this to be the first one, and then I want to read the next one. I have a lot of work to do, but it's a start. And I haven't quite gotten up the— I don't know if courage is the right word. I haven't read it yet because it just feels too close together. It's so important to remember that there are more books about Black people than just books about Black people dying and sad topics that happen to them every single day, because we have to celebrate the life as well. And that's definitely what I've been focusing on with the books that I've been reading. We're about to get into, because this is kind of like the June TBR that I had. Speaking of amazing books by Black authors, You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. I have talked about this book so much already, so I'm not gonna talk too much. I'm gonna keep it very brief. If you want to check out more of my thoughts, check out my mid-year book freakout tag. But Liz has always wanted to get out of her very small, very white, very prom-obsessed town, and she has the perfect plan. She's going to the university, she's gonna join the orchestra, she's gonna become a doctor, and she is almost there until she realizes, until she's told, that the scholarship she thought she was gonna get to be able to afford this school fell through. And she ends up having to run for prom queen, because in her obsessed town, the prom king and queen get a scholarship to wherever they would like. And she finds herself having to step out of her shell to be more active in her community, to talk to people that she thought that she had ended friendships with long ago, and to kind of discover herself. And it's just such a beautiful story because, you know, all that's going on too, but she's also discovering that maybe one of the other girls running for prom queen is pretty cute. I loved her journey. I related to how she thinks the world sees her so much, and it warmed my heart, and it made me really happy that in the end she was wrong, because she doesn't think that like the people around her like her or anything like that, and she was proven so wrong in so many different ways throughout this book. And I think that that's such an important message, because we are our own harshest critics, and you know, maybe our story won't end like hers does, but yeah, we just have to like look for the good. Speaking of people who— I mean, he had a similar character arc in the fact that he didn't think everyone around him liked him, and so he was very off-putting towards them, but then it turns out that they actually did want to like him and be his friend. I relate to that on a spiritual plane, and that's Felix Ever After by Case and Calendar. Adored this book. Absolutely loved it, because we're following Felix, who is transgender, and he starts off the story pretty harshly because someone is bullying him, and they're using his dead name and posting pictures of him before his transition, and he wants to find out who it is so that he can ruin them. But as he's going through all that, he's also kind of going through an identity crisis, and he's also kind of just going through a lot of other stuff that's going on in his head, and a lot of familial issues, and maybe some issues with his friends too. But throughout it all, Ezra is there, and his art is kind of there. He has to go on a journey to rediscover his love of art, because that is basically the one thing that will get him into college. This was a lovely story. I loved Ezra. I loved Felix. I loved the art. They're outside of my door. I loved the art aspects of it. I always relate to it, you know, because I mess around with art. Next on my haul list is one that I know nothing about, and that's gonna be Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I bought this on a whim. I've heard amazing things about it. I know that it's like a crazy sci-fi novel that basically has a cult following and is just so out of this world and good. I don't know anything about it. I have no idea what makes it sci-fi. I don't know who we're following. I don't know what the storyline is like. I don't know if we're in the future or if it's just, you know, like sci-fi. I bought it solely based on other people's recommendations, and I don't want to know anything about it. I really think that this is kind of the book that when you go in blind, like I said, sci-fis and fantasies, if you go in blind, it's gonna be a wild ride. I got this. This was also another one that I purchased with one of my credits from Book of the Month when I had extra ones. Ooh, let's talk about the beauty of Heart of Flames by Nikki Palpato. This is the second book in the Crown of Feathers series. I loved Crown of Feathers last year when I read it, and when I knew that Owl Crate was making another special edition, because I went on a hunt for the Owl Crate special edition of Crown of Feathers, and when I heard that they were making one for Heart of Flames, I went for it because I just knew I wanted them to match and look really beautiful next to each other. The only thing you need to know about this is that it has to do with a world that has phoenix riders. Well, that had phoenix riders until they went extinct. Well, the phoenixes did, but maybe they aren't as extinct as they thought they were. And that just sounds freaking sick. I mean, in general, I always like dragon rider kind of bond things, and I love the phoenix. Fun fact, I actually wanted a tattoo of a phoenix, still kind of do. I was like in high school. Like I planned it out and everything. I still have the tattoo idea. I still think it would be pretty sick, but I just haven't done it. I already have a wolf tattoo. I can't have like a phoenix tattoo, and you know, there's just too many animals at that point. Then we have Odd One Out by Nick Stone. This is kind of an interesting story. I've read this one as well. Didn't love it, but didn't hate it. Jupiter, she is a force to be reckoned with, and she is a social justice warrior basically. She's very opinionated and strong. She knows that she has been queer since she was 11, and she knows that her best friend is Cooper. You know, I've been filming for too long if my card runs out of battery, so I feel like we're nearing the end of this haul. Cooper's been in love with her his entire life, knowing that she is only interested in girls. And when a new person joins their duo, this person being Ray, she kind of messes up or makes it more interesting. I don't know, it depends on how you look at it. The relationships that they thought were so solidly put for so long. Next we have... That was unnecessary and it's still upside down. Okay. Uzumaki by Junji Ito. I have been eyeing these books for ages now, and I finally bit the bullet and bought the first in his horror manga series because they're all separate series. I'm really excited to read this. I mean, horror manga just sounds like it's gonna be something that I'm really interested in. Again, I love scary movies, and I just feel like seeing it in a manga form with the art style that Junji Ito has is going to be amazing. I mean, as a bonus, is gonna look really good on my shelf no matter how I put it, so cannot hurt. Very excited about that. I'm thinking like 2 more books. So the first one is gonna be Check Please by Ngozi Ukazu. I am so excited to read this. I know that I'm going to love it. I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. I mean, I do know my reading slump is just thriving. Check Please just checks off a lot of boxes that I know I would like. I mean, first of all, he used to be a figure skater, but he had to join the hockey team at his college because they don't have a figure skating team, but he obviously still wants to skate and, you know, go to college. And I mean, after that, he bakes, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how the baking goes in. I really, honestly, once they said the figure skating thing and then the hockey thing, I was sold as a figure skater, well, an ex-figure skater myself, and as a current hockey enthusiast. I just think this is gonna be so much fun. And the last book that I want to talk about today is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Ironically enough, this was actually in the books that Book of the Month sent me last time, but I have since read it, and so I figure this is a good one to end off on since I hadn't read the other ones yet. The Vanishing Half is a work of literary fiction that follows twins who run away from their very small-minded town of extremely colorist people. These twins are actually white passing. Most people are in this town, actually. These twins end up taking very different paths in their lives because one of them ends up back in the town with her very dark-skinned black child, and you can only imagine how cruel a town of colorist people are going to be to a very innocent child who doesn't look like their standards. Then the other twin never returns to her town. She goes off to pretend to be a white woman, to marry a man, to become very, very wealthy and well off, and to pass off as a white woman with no one knowing the wiser. And it just kind of follows how their two paths separate in that way, what it means for them, who ended up really with happiness. It followed, surprisingly, like the daughters of the twins a lot more than I believe it followed the twins. I know that the ending is kind of where people separate because it's sort of like a non-ending. I just like cleaner endings. I just want like things wrapped up in a bow and like for you to tell me how it is. And I know that it's purposefully not done that way, but I still would have wanted it, you know? So that's gonna be it. That's gonna be the last book that I haul for you guys today because my voice is tired, the pasta's ready, my mouth is dry, and this battery's about to die actually. So let's see where we're at. How many books? Wow, I still hold 39 books. So that's quite a few, and I feel like this footage is gonna be not fun, but that's okay, that's okay. So there's still quite a few books to be hauled, so look forward to that. It should be coming probably within the month, if not next month, and there might even be books added onto that one, so who knows how many I'll have by that time. But for now, we're gonna stick with these 39 books. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I know that it was kind of a little bit of a mess in the middle of the haul where I was talking about all the books that I'd hauled in the start of the year and didn't remember anything, and I'm glad that you stuck through it with me. Again, all the links are down below. All the book of the month links are down below as well, just in case you do want to check them out. I hope you guys still enjoyed this. Leave me comments down below and I will see you guys down there. Thank you so much for watching this awful book haul, and I hope you're staying super safe as I open up a knife. And I will see you in my next one. Goodbye! Okay, cool. Let's speak. I can hear people outside my door. Come in!
Is Luna in here?
Yeah, I already fed them.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Did you not? Wait, am I doing it in order or not? I'm doing it in order. I would be spoiled, and I've managed to not spoil myself. I can't talk. I told all the roommates that I fed the cats, and they all must have just not heard. That's how it be. Oh shit, I still have to do the thumbnail. Okay. Okay.